In the ancient times, when the earth was lush and the skies were always kind, there was a small, joyful village named Dunda. Life was a beautiful melody. The fields were a vibrant green, the rhythms of the drums echoed with celebration, and children's laughter filled the air as they played beneath the great baobab trees. The people of Dunda were content, living in harmony with the land that provided for them. But then, one year, the melody stopped. The rains, once so generous, vanished. The sky became a blank, unforgiving canvas. The sun beat down relentlessly, and the once soft earth cracked open like a broken heart. The rivers that once danced through the land slowed to a trickle, and then disappeared altogether. Wells that had quenched the thirst of generations turned to dust. The cheerful night songs of the frogs fell silent, leaving an eerie quiet in their place. Day after day, the worried villagers would gather, their faces turned upward, their hands clasped in prayer. They would chant, they would plead, "Rain, oh gentle rain, please come back to us." But their words seemed to evaporate into the hot air. The clouds, thin and wispy, would simply drift by, indifferent to their suffering. Hope began to wither, just like their crops. The village's vibrant spirit was drying up with the land. In the very heart of Dunda, in a humble hut, lived an old man named Babach. He was the village's rainmaker. In his younger days, his fame had spread across the plains. It was said that with his sacred drum and a special calabash filled with wine, he could summon storms and command the clouds. His connection to the spirits of rain was legendary. But now the years had taken their toll. His hands, which once beat the drum with powerful certainty, were frail and weak. His voice, which once boomed with authority, now trembled with the fragility of old age. The situation grew desperate. The village elders, their faces etched with worrying, made their way to Babach's hut. It was their last resort. "Babach," one of them pleaded, his voice heavy with the weight of his people's fear. "You are our only hope. The land is dying, and so are our spirits. Please, we beg you, call the rain for us one last time." The old rainmaker let out a long, weary sigh. He looked at the anxious faces before him and shook his head slowly. "The spirits of the rain are not summoned by demands," he explained, his voice soft but firm. "They do not answer to greed, nor do they listen to pride. My strength is gone. I am too old now to make the sky listen." A heavy silence fell over the group. But then a thoughtful look crossed Babach's face. "But perhaps there is another way." His gaze swept over the small crowd that had gathered outside his hut. His eyes, wise and ancient, scanned the faces until they rested on a young girl standing quietly at the edge of the group. Her name was Amara. She was not a warrior or a chief's daughter, but everyone in Dunda knew her. Amara was known for her boundless kindness. It was she who would help the elders carry their heavy pots of water from the last dwindling well. It was she who would share her own small portion of food with a hungry stranger without a moment's hesitation. She had a gentle spirit, and it was said she even spoke softly to the animals as if they were her friends. Babach beckoned her with a gentle wave of his hand. "Come forward, child," he said. Amara, surprised to be singled out, stepped forward shyly. The old man looked from her to the sacred drum resting in the corner of his hut. "The drum has its own wisdom," he told the elders, his eyes still on Amara. "It chooses the heart to which the clouds will listen." "Amara," he said, turning his full attention to her, "will you try?" Amara's eyes widened in disbelief and a little bit of fear. "Me, Babach, but I am just a girl. I don't know the ancient chants. I don't know how to call the rain." A warm, gentle smile spread across the old rainmaker's wrinkled face. He saw not her doubt, but the purity in her heart. "Ah, but that is the secret," he whispered. "Rain does not come from noise or from complicated rituals. It comes from the heart. Do not try to command the sky. Simply beat the drum with love for your people, not with the pride of wanting power, That very night, as a silent, silver moon hung in the star-dusted sky, Amara did as she was told. She carefully carried the heavy, sacred drum to the highest hilltop overlooking the village. She sat down beside the dry, rocky riverbed, a ghost of the river that once was. The air was still and heavy with unspoken sorrow. Closing her eyes, Amara didn't try to remember ancient words or complex rhythms. Instead, she thought of her village. She thought of the thirsty children, the wilting crops, the worried faces of the elders. She thought of the animals who had no voice to ask for water. A deep sense of love and compassion filled her entire being. Then, she began to whisper a simple song, a song of hope for renewal, a lullaby for the sleeping earth. With that song in her heart, she began to beat the drum. It was not a loud, demanding beat. It was soft, steady, and rhythmic, like a heartbeat. Doom, doom, doom. With every single beat, her heart poured out all the love she felt for her people, for her dying land, and for all the thirsty creatures of the plains. She wasn't asking for rain. She was sharing her heart with the sky. And then, something miraculous happened. Far away, on the dark horizon, the clouds began to stir, gathering together as if drawn by her gentle rhythm. A cool wind, the first in many months, brushed against her cheek, carrying the scent of distant water. The air grew thick and electric. Suddenly, a brilliant flash of lightning split the night sky, illuminating the entire valley for a breathtaking moment. It was followed not by a frightening crash, but by a soft, gentle patter, the sound of a single raindrop hitting a dry leaf, then another, and another. The villagers, sleeping fitfully in their huts, were woken by the growing rumble of thunder. But this was not a sound of fear, it was a sound of promise. They heard the pitter-patter on their roofs, a sound they had almost forgotten. People rushed out of their homes, their faces turned up to the heavens. The rain was falling. Laughter and joyous shouts replaced the silence. They danced in the downpour, letting the cool, life-giving water wash away the dust and despair. The land was drinking, and so were their souls. On the hilltop, Amara stood watching the celebration below, a contented smile on her face, tears of joy mingling with the raindrops on her cheeks. She felt a gentle hand on her shoulder and turned to see Baba standing behind her, his own face beaming with pride. "You have learned the secret, Amara," he said, his voice filled with warmth. "The true secret of the rain is not found in magic spells or powerful drumming. It is compassion. It is love. When your heart is pure and your intentions are selfless, even the sky above will stoop to listen." From that day forward, the rains returned to Ndunda and the land healed. Amara became the new Rainmaker, not because she possessed any magical powers or inherited an ancient title, but because she carried the greatest power of all within her, a heart full of love. Thank you so much for joining us for this story. If you enjoyed it, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more tales from around the world. We'll see you next time.